Tomorrow, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche returns before the Senate Judiciary Committee seeking confirmation to serve permanently as the nation's top law enforcement official. It's his second confirmation hearing for a senior Justice Department role, but the first since overseeing a series of controversial decisions, including high-profile investigations and indictments, as well as the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. Our Justice correspondent, Ali Rogin, looks at Blanche's unlikely rise to the department's top job.
The president's former lawyer.
I have stood next to and defended President Trump as partisan prosecutors and politicians abused our legal system.
Now nominated to be the people's lawyer full-time after 3 months as acting attorney general. His path to get here, improbable. Growing up in a blue-collar Denver suburb, taking night classes at Brooklyn Law School while working as a paralegal. At one time, a registered Democrat who worked in the Southern District of New York's Violent Crimes Division for 8 years.
He was a great teammate, trial partner.
Mimi Rocha was his colleague there.
He was a tenacious investigator. He liked to build cases, particularly cases involving drugs and guns and international narcotics and gangs and things like that.
He then moved to private practice, representing Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, in a mortgage fraud case. Then, following a call from Trump himself, Blanche left his white-collar firm to join Trump's defense in the first ever criminal trial of a former U.S. president. Financial Times reporter Joe Miller says at the time, Blanche was not politically motivated.
Todd Blanche wasn't just a Democrat. He was quite a committed Democrat. In fact, his children like to remind him that on the day that Hillary Clinton lost, Todd Blanche even shed a tear. But he also knew that many of his friends in the white-collar bar had refused to work for Donald Trump and that Donald Trump was running out of options, so to speak.
Trump was found guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records stemming from hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Blanche led Team Trump's outcry and later appealed the convictions.
I very much believe that the jury should have found President Trump not guilty.
He also represented Trump in the federal classified documents and election obstruction cases, both of which were ultimately dismissed.
Blanche started to take on more of the Trump mannerisms, going on long rants within the court, sometimes interrupting the judge, pushing in his briefs the boundaries of legal discourse.
Days after the president's 2024 election win, he announced Blanche's nomination as Deputy Attorney General. How has he evolved, in your estimation, since joining President Trump's defense team?
I wouldn't say it's so much an evolution as what seems to be a transformation. What we were taught to value in the Southern District of New York was to do the right thing, to seek justice, to serve the public, not any particular person or president.
Blanche defended Trump during his confirmation hearing. Some senators questioned whether he'd act independently of the president as deputy AG.
I don't think that President Trump is going to ask me to do anything illegal or immoral. And so I don't.
But if he does, you would say no.
I will follow the law, Senator, period.
The Senate confirmed Blanche by a vote of 52 to 46. Deputy AG Blanche became the face of the highly scrutinized review of files related to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Today we are producing more than 3 million pages.
He oversaw their turbulent release after Congress passed bipartisan legislation calling for more transparency. Epstein survivors quickly realized many of their names, images, and other personal information were unredacted.
You don't expect to see your name, of course, right? And so as you're scrolling to see your name, it just brings up, it really is a level of PTSD.
And some members of Congress claimed the DOJ withheld some files in order to protect powerful people involved with Epstein. Blanche called the redaction failures horrible and inexcusable and maintains that 3 million still hidden files are duplicates, irrelevant, or covered by privilege.
We are not sitting on a single piece of paper, nothing that should be released.
Blanche also came under scrutiny when he interviewed Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, while she was serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Days later, Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security prison camp.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Which Blanche later said he approved.
There was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life.
In April, Trump fired Attorney General Pam Bondi, reportedly in part because he thought she was too slow to prosecute his political enemies. As acting AG, Blanche quickly changed the pace.
Today, a grand jury sitting in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned an indictment against James Comey on 2 counts.
Indicting former FBI Director James Comey for a photo he posted to Instagram a year earlier. Blanche also sped up the investigation of former CIA Director John Brennan over statements he made to Congress on whether Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election to benefit Trump.
He is extraordinarily qualified to do the job for a couple of reasons.
Former federal prosecutor Jonathan Fahey, who served as acting ICE director in the first Trump administration, said Blanche's history with Trump is actually a benefit.
Being someone's lawyer is a good history of working with someone and working effectively with someone. So I think in many ways that's a positive. It certainly should be a negative.
But Blanche faces an uphill battle in the Senate, where he'll need to be confirmed. He got a preview when he answered questions about the now defunct anti-weaponization fund for people who alleged they've been victims of a weaponized DOJ, including January 6 protesters.
But I am the acting attorney general, so don't say the president's former personal lawyer will do something. The acting attorney general will do something.
Mr. Attorney General, you are acting today like the president's personal attorney.
Before his hearing, a group of 1,200 former DOJ employees signed a letter urging against his confirmation, citing his degradation of the DOJ's apolitical career workforce. Blanche dismissed their concerns.
I'm going to still work hard and still work with the Senate, Republicans or Democrats that have any questions for me about the validity or whether I should be confirmed.
Tomorrow, Blanche faces the Judiciary Committee, which lost one of its most influential members, Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham's death means Blanche must secure the support of every committee Republican in order to proceed to a full Senate vote. For the PBS News Hour, I'm Ali Rogin.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.